right.
Three of us. All right, we'll call it to order at 7:51. I have to read my script. Good evening. This is Tuesday, September 28th, 2021 meeting of the Town of Berlin Planning Board. As a preliminary matter, please note this meeting is being recorded and that some of the attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks will be able to see you. So anything you intend to screen share or not on your computer will be recorded. This is Tom Sanford, Chair of the Planning Board. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons that participated on the agenda are present and can hear me prior to me calling the meeting to order. Planning Board members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Timothy Wheeler,
Aye.
Carolyn McDonald,
Aye.
and Tom Sanford, aye. We'll get the anticipated speakers as we get there. With the quorum of the board present, I call this meeting to order at 7:51 PM Tuesday, September 28th, 2021. This is an open meeting of the planning board being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. Specific information and general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public can be found on the Town of Berlin website. The governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location and allows and encourages us to participate remotely. For this meeting, the planning board is convening using the Zoom platform as posted on the agenda, which includes links for the public to join this meeting. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After the concluding remarks, I will invite each board member by name to provide any comments, questions, penetrating insights, and/or motions. Please hold all your insights until your name is called. Board members and speakers on the agenda, please remember to mute your telephone or computer when you're not speaking. Speak clearly to ensure accurate minutes are recorded. For any response, please wait until you're yielded the floor. State your name before speaking. If board members wish to engage in conversation with one another, please do so through me to avoid multiple conversations at the same time. Lastly, please note that each vote in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. Thank you all for your cooperation and understanding. All righty. So first, while we had bills and stuff and get Janet access, which is gone by the wayside now. Is anybody in the audience for Highland Ridge? No?
Nope.
Okay. Well,
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes of whatever it was.
meeting held on September 14th, 2021.
Sounds good.
Second.
Perfect. Perfect. Any discussion? Nope. Seeing none, I'll ask you to vote. All in favor of accepting the minutes as presented? Timothy Wheeler,
Aye.
Carolyn McDonald,
Aye.
and Tom Sanford, aye. Thank you. We've accepted the minutes. I wonder if he thought it was supposed to be 8 o'clock. I said 7:45 to him the last time. Yeah, 7:45 I wrote down.
I will keep an eye out.
Well, I mean, it's part of the agenda, so we can go on. And Tim, you shared with us our some feedback that we got from town council, right?
Yes.
Yes. So I agree, and I always had that feeling that it was beyond the purview of the planning board that we would have to take this up as at least a public hearing, and it sounds like more likely it should go as a town meeting, which we're not going to have time to do it in the special, so you're going to wind up in the annual if they want to pursue this.
Right. And at that point, I mean, in what, 6-8 months, they're gonna want to have all of their units built.
Well, they're going to have to because of the way that the agreement was written. They have to have so many built as they got so many regular units built.
Yeah, and I bet they've got a third of their building permits pulled.
Have they?
Yeah. So.
I think it's probably too late for this particular proposal. Is that your feeling, Mr. Wheeler?
Yes. And I was so the construction of the affordable units will be provided coincident with the development of market rate units, but in no event shall the development of affordable units be delayed beyond the schedule noted below. So market rate units, up to 30% can be built before any affordable units are built. And then when you build between 30 and 50% of the market rate units, at least 30% of the affordable units have to be built. And by the time you get to 75% of the total units, 75% of the affordable units have to be built. So after 50%, you begin to equalize.
Right.
So if they were going to have to build 10 affordable units, if they're building 66 total, 30% is 22 or so, 20. So they could build 20 without building any affordables.
Right.
But before they got to 33, they'd have to have 4 affordables and those 33. So they could build 20 without doing anything. Then the next 12, they'd have to build 3 of them affordable. And then the next.
And so that's up to the building inspector
The
or,
monitor, yeah. And I talked to him about it and said,
okay,
be aware, so. He said, okay. And Eloise had a conversation with. Is she still elevated?
Yep.
So Eloise and I talked today. There had been a conversation with Chris Slade about some of the affordable units being handicap accessible. That was a discussion with the housing partnership, I guess. Is that correct?
Yes,
but that didn't get into any agreements, correct?
but there's no written documents.
Right. Yeah, he agreed to a lot verbally.
Chris did.
Yeah,
Is that true with conservation too?
yeah, a lot of stuff that you can't regulate, he promised he wasn't gonna clear cut the site. And obviously, that's not how the site was managed ultimately. And that was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Would have been nice to have mature trees in there.
They had to move so much earth, Philip. That
Yeah.
would have been really difficult.
Yeah, no, and I completely understand why sites get clear cut. But we're still working on the conservation restriction too. Still haven't dotted the i's and crossed the t's on that. But they won't get any occupancy permits for any of the units until that's done, so we're pretty close.
All right.
Did you had town meeting on the, did you have
I had-
annual town meeting articles or what did you have?
No, I had to discuss if we had anything for the special.
Oh, okay, so that's passed, so we don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
And we didn't have anything anyway, I don't think, did we?
We talked about it, but we didn't get anything. It wasn't anything definitive to say yes, yeah,
Yeah.
and nay. So, but if the ship sailed, the ship has sailed.
Evie and I went to look at the Riverwalk housing units in Concord.
Oh,
And right next to it is a project called Millworks, which is being developed by the same guy. And it's the same number of units. And then we went to Carlisle, and he's got a project there that he's building with, on a bigger piece of land, so that some of the units are collective, compact, like the Riverwalk site, but the others are sort of spaced out. And then at Devon's, where Judy and Gordon Booman are living, he built another project, and they're living in that one. So it's on a slope. So it goes from, if you're in West Concord by that mill on 62, you just go a little bit by it, and the new project is right there within sight of that big mill complex in West Concord on the opposite side of the street. And then the Riverwalk is just beyond that, but it slopes down. And there were some existing structures on the street that they rehabbed, and they have garage space under those that's utilized by the Riverwalk housing units. They're attached to the city water, but they have their own septic, joint shared system. And it's similar to what a more mature, I guess, settlement, similar to what you find at like Mosaic, where
well, I just pulled the website up and that's exactly what it reminds me of. And there's a giant mature tree right in the middle of it.
there's a,
I think it's a
you
rendering.
walk down through, and the 5 houses are on each side, and the boulevard that you walk through is very densely planted
Yeah,
with some mature trees. And then you get to the bottom, and there's a screened sort of communal building that people can use for gatherings of family and stuff if their house isn't big enough. And then a sort of a fire pit, fireplace type thing. And then just beyond that, a community garden, and which isn't very big, but still it's there. And then you go a little further and you get down to the river. But we talked, as we came back out, a woman had come out of her car, and she was carrying groceries and talking to some guys that were installing some solar on one of the roofs. And we said, and she said, "Hello, can I help you?" And we thought, oh, perfect, someone that really wants to engage. And she was probably 75, and she'd been there since she was the second person to buy. She paid 10 or 12 years ago, somewhere around 500,000. Now she said the assessed values are like 800,000 for their units.
wow,
But compared to other units in Concord, it's substantially less.
sure.
So, affordable by Concord standards, I guess you'd have to say. And, of course, they own their individual units. They have a condominium arrangement for the plowing, maintenance of the property, that sort of thing. You get to if you wanted to deliver something heavy to one of your units, behind the unit is there's the impervious pavers type things, that
Yep.
stabilize, but grass grows and all that. So those run behind the houses. At least they run behind the houses. We only saw that on the west side. So, but I imagine it must be true on the east side of the street as well.
So not in the rendering that I see. Wow, this is a long skinny project. Do you want me to screen share this?
Sure, yeah.
All right.
So it's
hold on.
long and skinny, and the one next of it is long and skinny too.
Yeah.
Same profile.
All right, let me get over
He must have got
here.
some concessions or something, that guy, the developer.
in terms of, yeah, if I went to the zoning bylaw for Concord, and it's a planned use zoning or something like that. And what it says is that if you build,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Yeah, so it looks like just here is the only pervious surface.
yeah, that's interesting. I wonder what people on the east side do. So that whole area to the west is a sliver of a piece, just like the one that this
Yeah.
one was developed on, and that's being developed the same way. Not that field or anything, just the sliver that's just as
Right.
wide as, no, even
Oh.
east of that.
Oh, here.
No, west of the
Nope.
project, but not, move your cursor to your, your right.
This way.
Yeah, a little more.
Oh,
there.
this.
Yep,
my
so
goodness.
that sliver is being developed just like the one next to it,
Wow.
with the same number of units.
How many units you said?
Well, I think it's 10. 1, 2. It only looks like 8.
Yeah,
Well, but then the top 2 are,
4,
yeah, there's
6,
4
8,
on each side.
9.
That's the little shared structure. And
right.
then up above those 4 units, there's apartments in the ones closest to the parking lot. And
Right. There's also this photo. This
Okay.
one's a rendering.
yeah, so the 2 units closest to the parking lot to the right have sort of basement parking garages. So in addition to the parking spaces you see to the left side of the parking lot, there's also undercover parking in the basement of those 2 buildings to the right of the parking lot.
yeah.
And there's some, so what does it say? 3-bed unit above parking, yeah. Lower level.
Accessed from low level, I think is
Yeah.
what it says. Yeah.
And then,
Same thing on the other one.
Yeah. Same thing here.
yeah, and then what's it say out front? Something citing leave with parking space.
Which
So
one? This
there's-
says undesignated parking spaces
Yeah,
right here. Stormwater retention basin, screened pavilion, community garden, access drive.
yeah, and between the community garden and the top left unit is where the septic, the covers for the septic system, you and I came around the corner and there were these manhole covers for the septic.
Right. Well, they definitely have plenty of room further down. If we look here. I'm sure the leach field is down here somewhere.
Yeah, probably so, because the tanks were right there above the garden and then the field would probably be below. Yeah,
Right.
so it was good, it was fun to see.
So the idea is that it's for workforce housing, or is it?
Well, it's cheaper housing than you'd normally find in Concord. And
Right.
so this is an older woman and it wouldn't be, they're like 1,500 square feet. Difficult to put much of a family in there. It would probably be, an older retired couple or a single individual or a young couple, that isn't going to have kids, that sort of thing, or somebody with maybe 1 kid.
Right. So it's not age restricted
No,
in any way.
it's not a 40B or anything like
Right.
that.
But yeah, so look at how cute that is.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
And they're, for people that are used to living in a city situation, it's, they think
Sure.
they're in heaven.
Right. I'm in the country.
Can you go back up one slide?
Which one?
The one you just had, yeah. I mean,
So-
that
Yeah.
one on top is, I know it's all
This-
one floor, but it's pretty good sized space.
Yeah, it's actually a 2-bedroom because they've got is that a garage?
No, it's got a
Oh, no, it can't,
That's the
Right.
second floor, isn't
second
it?
floor.
it
yeah.
is, yeah.
So
So
the
there's
master's on the second floor,
probably lower level master.
maybe.
Or really, it could be either.
Mm,
Yeah, depending on
Um,
whether, if you wanted, if you had the capacity to get to the second floor, you'd be
Right.
there. If you didn't, you'd be on the first.
Yep, so 2.5 baths. So this one's a full bath, this is a half bath, and then there's a full bath upstairs.
all right.
So there's a lot of house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bit of house.
They're similar, remember Chris Senni sent us some renderings of some cottage housing?
Yeah, but this one's nicer looking.
Oh, yeah. But his were trying to play with roof angles and stuff,
Correct,
you know.
right.
And then this looks like the other style unit.
Yeah,
That one's got 2 bedrooms upstairs though.
yep.
Yep,
And
That's a
one down. So
3-bedroom.
3-bedroom. Huh.
Yeah,
yeah,
so you could definitely put a family in that one.
Yep, you could. Yep.
easily.
And what did it say? 3/4 of a mile to the main crossroads there in West Concord on that other map that you had. I think it showed
Let's
3/4 of a mile.
see. I think you're right. I think that was this one. Yeah,
Yeah. Because she said she was looking for some place where she could, walk. And, she was certainly outgoing and would have taken advantage of the walkability if she, if it
Right.
wasn't crazy weather, probably.
now is this purple line, is this Route 62?
No, 62 is the line right
Is
there
this-
where your
this one?
cursor is. Yep.
Okay,
And the mill is just to
That
the,
commuter rail.
yeah, that probably is.
oh, yeah,
So you're not
And the
that far from
green, I wonder if that's a bikeway or something,
could very well be.
a rail trail or something. Well, of course, well, I don't know. So at some point, it might be fun to talk to this guy. Just because he's building these in a number of different places, and he might be willing to share some of his thoughts about why he pursued this option in the first place. The
Sure.
Pocket neighborhood is located the Pocket neighborhood.
Yeah,
Yeah, interesting.
I love
And
that
then-
though.
Stowe has got what they call workforce housing in a project there, and I was going to get in touch with Jesse Stedman, the planner over there, and ask him if he could share the language that they used for those. And then since the Devon site has got something that this guy's built, and that Devon's planner was talking to the housing consortium about workforce housing there, I think it's the same project. So we'll get I'll get the language for that too.
Is that something that we want to contemplate, creating a draft version to put onto the town warrant? Annual
For the
town
spring.
warrant?
Yeah, wouldn't you think?
I would think
do.
so.
I think that'd be a good objective.
So we really should talk to a builder if possible, just to get their take, so we don't slant it so far one way that no one
Yep.
would be willing to use it.
Yeah,
Right.
so Abby's got the guy's contact information, so we'll reach out and say, would you mind being on a Zoom meeting with us sometime? Because we're not gonna be too busy with other stuff in the next couple
Shouldn't
meetings,
be.
I don't think. I mean,
No.
what have we got, right?
Shouldn't be.
Give us something to do this cold, long
Some
winter.
fun stuff.
That,
Because-
well, no, it is, because that's what planning is all about,
Yep.
really.
Right,
Well, and then Central Mass should give us a proposal for the affordable housing update, the housing plan. So, we'd have to tend to that a little bit too, as the winter went on. But that'd be nice. Those would be two big, nice projects.
definitely.
Good deal.
Very
But they are,
nice.
you walk into it and you think, wow, I could see, like Sennies have always said, why couldn't we build something like this up by Boundless? And I could really see it there,
Yeah,
How big a site is left over that can be used?
at Boundless,
Yeah,
they showed 5 or 6 acres.
left.
Yeah. They've already got water. They'd
Yep.
let them hitch up to the septic at River Bridge. And so basically the land is available to the town for zip.
$1.
You'd set it up so the water and surge connections could be made. So you wouldn't have that infrastructure cost. You'd have tie-in costs, and then you'd have fees.
Right.
But that may very well mean that someone like this guy would say, wow,
Yeah,
great opportunity. I'll
Right.
come in, I'll build you a dozen units and, I think, I don't know, maybe people would say, no. There's no way Boundless in a project like this or could be compatible together, but
why not?
Yeah, I was
on the
gonna
other
say,
hand, some people might say, wow, what a great opportunity. So,
yeah. Yeah, it's not, I mean, yes, it's busy in the
Not
summer.
super busy though.
Right, exactly. It's not, I mean, it's pretty limited as to how many people can be there.
Right.
Yeah,
so there's an option anyway.
that would be awesome.
And in that situation, you'd probably say one of the units has to be affordable or something. Because they're all so scaled anyway. So
Right.
if you're going to build 10 and you could get one affordable, you'd at least keep yourself at 10%. And you wouldn't have to demand that they be 15 like the inclusionary zoning says, so they'd have to build 20% of their units affordable. But I think with water and surge so available that,
It would make sense, I would think.
yeah.
Eloise has her hand up.
Miss Eloise, would you like to address us?
I was just gonna say Alden Drive has 10 units, of which 3 are affordable.
Alden
Yep.
Drive does?
Yeah, but it went down to 2.
Right. And that's nestled in there fairly nicely.
Yeah,
And
Yeah,
those
I
were
mean, the
bigger
buildings-
units too. They were like 2,000 square feet, weren't they?
I believe so.
Yeah. I mean, because they had to build their own septic and wells and all that stuff, their costs were increased. And, to me, what appeals about this Riverwalk is the architecture, there's character and the buildings on Alden are sort of, they don't have that same feel that the Riverwalk site did. But because it wouldn't be a 40B and not all, and you wouldn't have to have 30% of the units being affordable. There's some scale there that allows, I think, somebody to be a little more imaginative with the architecture, perhaps. And this guy, because he's been doing it now, probably has sharpened his pencil pretty tight, so he can probably build one of these units pretty efficiently.
I would imagine.
Well, if you could utilize the same plans and everything else.
Yeah.
That's where your scale is going to come in. You've got your septic and water taken care of, so you're tamping down your costs before you even get in the ground.
Yep.
Sure.
That's important.
Yeah, and even if you can take one of the prior project plans and just modify it here and there to accommodate the new site, you're still not starting from scratch. You're not
Right.
spending hours and hours figuring it out.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
Neat.
very exciting.
Cool. All right, well, what's our pleasure?
Well, there's still nobody else in the audience.
What is it?
So,
It's 8:20. Well,
Yeah, so it's half an hour beyond what the scheduled, actually 35 minutes beyond what the scheduled agenda was, so I don't think they're showing up.
right. Does it make sense to forward the information that we got from Amy to them in lieu of them being here tonight?
is there anything in that letter that would be where is it?
I don't think there was anything inflammatory, but
It's you could just cut and paste her decision and not include all
the questions.
the language. Right?
Right.
Section 2, we require dispersed throughout. I mean, those are pretty just bland statements.
Yeah,
of
it was,
fact.
right, and I don't even think the questions were all that were anything that we wouldn't want to share.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
don't think so.
I just, well, I don't have any trouble with you sending that, cut and paste her little,
You send it?
you have asked me the following and the
Yep.
1, 2, 3 and her answers. Yeah, what the hell?
Right,
Because that'll help them. I mean, that's basically what we're going to tell them tonight. So
right.
they'll know what they have, what their course of action is going forward.
Okay, I'll send that to him tomorrow.
I thought her comment at the end, in my opinion, it would be reasonable to classify it as a residential care facility. However, these types of group homes are usually permitted as an accommodation for individuals with disabilities under the Federal Fair Housing Act and classified as single-family homes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Now, I think in my note to her, I said, as part of a community residential program. I didn't cite, I just said it has to be licensed by DDS. I don't think she's probably familiar with the chapter and verse that they were trying to utilize. So there may very well be a way in which all 5 units would apply as 5 separate units, even though they were in one structure.
They were pretty adamant about that.
Yeah, so she may not be up to speed in terms of the direction that they're heading in this specific program that's available for them to do
Well,
that.
bottom line is they still would have to go through a pretty good sized gauntlet, so.
Yep, and they couldn't do anything until May, and
Right,
the Attorney General wouldn't get it back until
August.
August, so.
Yeah. so
that-
it's almost a year.
Yeah, they'd have to wait a
So-
year to build anything more than the first 20
30.
units.
20
Right.
units.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't see how that becomes financially viable.
no, you don't have to carry those for a whole year,
Right,
not with prices of everything going the way they're going.
yeah, exactly.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe building materials will be more available in a year, maybe they'll be less available in a year, who knows?
It won't be any
Yeah.
cheaper.
I was
Yeah.
at the lumberyard today. Colwell's, right?
Yeah.
I remember that name at least.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was at the lumberyard and I was trying to order metal roofing. And they said, 10 days, 2 weeks, we can get it, no problem. And I said, how's everything else? And they said, some stuff is still impossible. It's just not there. Some
Right.
stuff is still forever and some stuff is reasonably attainable. But I was surprised the roofing was going to be available so quick. I was pleased with that.
Me too.
Nice. Yep.
You think he's pulling my leg?
Don't know.
It really depends on where it's made.
Mm.
I mean, that's, carpet's made in the US and we've been doing really well with that, but the luxury vinyl planks,
Huh.
we have one distributor that makes some here in the States. The stuff from China is like, it might be on a boat in November,
Yeah.
maybe.
And then it's gonna sit for 6 months outside of the Port of Los Angeles, so they
Oh,
can't.
yeah.
they're
You see
gonna
the
unload it.
picture? The pictures of all those cargo ships, Jesus.
Just parked.
Yep. That's where my product is.
Yep.
Yeah, so, but some stuff, it's just, and the prices, I mean, we've had 6 price increases in the past 5 months, which
On-
if,
On the carpet as well as the other stuff, really?
yep, just because, well, partly I think because they can, but
Yeah.
also, they still need to source the material, and that is, some of the yarns still are made overseas. And yeah, it's just interesting times we're living in, my friends.
Steel
Right.
has doubled in price from last August until now. Double.
Wow.
Really?
I just placed an
Wow.
order for 528,000 pounds of steel.
Holy crap.
128,000.
It's 12 tractor trailer truckloads of steel.
Wow. And what form does it come in?
It's in structural members.
Yeah.
Huh.
You know.
Wow.
So for a project that I'm working on, and we're worried about getting it.
Sure. So you're
So
ordering it
we ordered
now.
it all. Yeah,
Yeah.
But double the price.
double. Mhm.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, a lot of the lumber has come down from where it was
Yes.
this spring,
Yes, yeah.
but
Yeah, at one point it was like $1,800 per cubic, no, $1,800 per basically bunk of studs.
Mhm.
And now it's down around, and it was around 800, it went to 1,800, and now it's down to between about 1,000.
Right.
So it's come down, it's still
That's
up.
quite a bit,
it's
yeah.
still come down. Yeah,
Yeah.
quite a bit.
Yep.
Good.
So
Wow.
but it's craziness.
Yep.
We used to, the packaging that we used to send our panels, we had, blocking underneath them and stuff like that. It wasn't worth a union carpenter to take that stuff off of the panel and put it back on the truck to send it back. It was easier to throw it away. It was cheaper to throw it away.
Yep.
Now it's not. Now it's cheaper for
Right.
have the union carpenter take it off, pile it in a big pile on the truck and recycle it.
Well,
Wow.
that's the other thing, is the waste disposal industry is just unbelievable.
Mhm.
We've had a couple incidences this summer where we've called for our dumpster to be emptied. And it's, back in the good times, it
Mhm.
was a day, maybe 2, till they would come and empty it. And then it was getting to be 3 or 4 days. We waited a couple of times for 2 weeks for them
Wow.
to come and empty it. And at that point, when you're used to a couple of days, you call when it's just about full.
Right.
And then if you've got 2 more weeks worth of trash,
Yeah.
we were bringing home trash from the office. I mean, just so that the rotten food that, the leftovers from lunch weren't piling up in the warehouse for the raccoons to get. But yeah,
Wow.
Craziness. Gypsum is another one that's getting to be scarce. So like the drywall,
Yeah.
joint
Yeah.
compound, all the stuff, sheathing, we use a lot of exterior grade sheathing. And we were having a hard time. I had the job I'm working on now, we made a deal with them back in March. I signed a purchase order for the entire job. And I told them I wanted X amount of trucks per month. And I would pay for it up front, everything else. So I had trucks coming at the end of the month for the following month. So in July, 3 days before they were supposed to deliver, they said to me, "Nope, sorry, we're going to delay that truck. It'll be there in the middle of August." And I'm like, well, right now my burn rate was such that I'd have guys idled standing around the factory within 2 weeks. So we scrambled around. We called a whole bunch of places. I was calling all the way up to Burlington, Vermont, and as far as down as New Haven, Connecticut. And I found some, but I found some in various places, but they wouldn't sell it to me because they wanted to keep their regular customers going. So
Sure.
I did find enough to keep my guys going. So then the end of August came and they said, "Oh yeah, by the way, the truck that we were supposed to deliver in July and the one we were delivering in August, we're not going to deliver it now until the middle of October."
Oh,
wow.
We're like, we can't wait any longer. We can't, we scrambled last month. We still have a problem. Now I have a contract with these guys, a purchase order and everything else. They're like, "Sorry, we just can't get it. We'd
Yeah.
love to sell it to you. We just can't get it."
Wow.
So
And
I'm like,
that's quarried or whatever it
Yeah.
in mostly in Florida, right?
there's a bunch of different places. So the stuff that's manufactured up in New Hampshire is actually the gypsum comes from Canada.
Really?
Yeah. So there's some gypsum in Canada, there's some gypsum in Florida. A lot of it comes from overseas, and the overseas part of it's the problem. The
Sure.
other thing that was problematic with what I'm using, it has a fiberglass facer on both sides of it because it's exterior grade. The fiberglass was in shortage.
Right.
I couldn't get the fiberglass raw materials to make the scrim to be able to make this stuff.
Wow.
And that's what was causing the problem. So yeah, it's just craziness.
I was inspecting houses for the bank in Grafton Friday. And I've gotten to know the guy that does all the vinyl siding on all these projects. He's working on a couple down there. So this project's got like 20 houses and the other one's duplexes. It's probably got 60 units. It's similar to, some of our stuff. So I've been saying to him ever since the spring, how things going, and he's, prices still going up for vinyl siding. And I said, "How are things going now?" And he says, "They're still going up." And I said, "Really?" And he said, "Yeah." And he says, "I can get the high end material, but I can't get the middle or the lower grade material." And so he said they try to vary the house colors on these. And he said, if people wanted that house color that they initially asked for on this house, I could have gotten it, but it was going to be another $2,500 on top of what they'd already, But he said that was, he said that it's interesting because he's watching the guys that are using the lumber to frame with prices going down, whereas his prices are still
Yeah.
increasing. So,
Well, his is petroleum based, so.
Yeah.
And petroleum is going crazy. We hit
Yeah, it is.
$80 a barrel today.
Yep. Yep.
We haven't had that in like 3 years.
I heard that.
so what's your t-shirt say? We only see Dad, your
One of my favorite parents.
Yeah, good for them. I love them.
That's awesome. Well, we should make a motion to adjourn so that,
Yeah, I want to talk to you about, Tom can listen in if he wants. He'll be
yeah,
informed.
no, it's just, this is all
I-
gonna be
I move that we
as part of
adjourn.
our meeting. Second,
All right, we got a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. Any other further discussion? Seeing none, I'm going to call for vote. Carolyn McDonald,
yes, aye.
Timothy Wheeler,
Aye.
and Tom Sanford, aye. Thank you all.